Welcome back to another episode of today. I thought it'd be really great to talk about things that I really preach about in classes, in our community, and I would say in general. The topic today is how to be just 1% better every day. Now, I really speak and say this statement quite a bit in our classes. And for a lot, that might be maybe thinking that I'm only thinking about fitness, right? Like try to lift heavier weights or, try to get up a little earlier. But I'm talking about being 1% better, like in our everyday life. Okay. So there are four things I kind of want to touch on today. And if it really resonates with you, I hope that, you could share this out because you always have to think there could be someone else that you could help, whether it's a reach out, whether that's, offering support, anything that you could do to help someone else out, I always think is valuable. So if this resonates with you today, please give me a shout out, let me know, and maybe share it with someone that you think that this could help. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about when I say be 1% better is number one, is giving effort. Okay. Now, when you give effort, that means that you're actually trying to be better. Okay. You can't just say, I'm going to be 1% better every day and do nothing about it. Okay. You can't just wake up in the morning and say, oh, today's going to be great and not really work toward that statement. So things on or ways that you can give effort are changing your habits. If you say to yourself, I'm going to want to drink more water, okay? That's how I want to be better. I want to drink more water. And you don't, do anything for that. Where you're like, oh, I'll try today, but, it passes you. In order for you to drink more water, you either need to fill your water cup, you need to get a bottle, you need to, create goals, you need to write down a task, put it on the fridge, you could check it off. Like that's effort. You're putting your sayings into action, because with just a statement without action is just a statement. It's not really doing anything. Okay. Personal development, I'm a big believer of like reading all the books and getting all the help, because I'm not the expert in everything, although I keep telling my family that I am. I'm not. Okay. And when someone has a book that might help me or might help my family or my kids or my members, I'm going to try to preach it. I'm going to read it. I want to develop, a task or a new skill. I'm going to read it. Okay. So personal development books are like really, really great on the action plan, because not only are you reading it, you can put it into action. A lot of the personal development books help you put what they're saying into action. Either they have apps, either they have workbooks that you can actually put into action. Okay. And the last thing, effort, is that I never want you ever to feel like, oh my goodness, in order for me to be better, I got to have this list like 10 things long every day. I got to read all the books. Like just try, if you're reading a book, for 3 pages a day. Like that's not a lot. Or if that's too much and you're not meeting that, then do 2 pages. If we're not meeting that, maybe 1 page. But remember, effort comes with a bit of sacrifice, all right? At the beginning, it may be sacrifice where you're like, you know what? I need to set some time today in order for me to complete my task, okay? So in the morning, before I get my workout in, I usually write down 5 things that I want to accomplish during the day. And they're not major things, okay? You might think like, oh, you have a business, you're doing fitness. No, they're not always that. They are right in my gratitude. Even though it is habit, there are some days that, the time gets the best of me. I didn't win my morning, and you know what? I'm rushing. So I have to get to that day. So write my gratitude. Read my personal development book. Okay? That's great. Have a green smoothie. Really? It's like simple as that. Okay? Get to those tasks that you wanted to do the day before. Maybe you didn't get to it. Okay? And be present when your kids come home from school. Usually that's always on there, because, with developing habits and trying to be better, there's always things that, you kind of slip like, oh, I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better mom today. Like, I'm not going to yell today, or I'm going to be present when they come home. We're going to turn off my phone. sometimes those things need to be like a habit. You develop a habit every day. So it needs to be written down, and you need to task orient that habit in order for it to become a lasting one. Okay. So, I struggle sometimes with a balance of work and trying to serve everybody. So I really have to time block my time in order for me to be a good mom, a good business owner, a good community partner, a good mentor, coach. So I have to basically segment my time in order for me to serve those things that mean a lot to me. All right. So number one is effort. You got to give effort. If you don't give effort, then being 1% better every day is not really going to happen. Okay. Now, number two is not letting the past dictate your present and future. So I hear often is that, 2020 was hard because, we were in lockdown, pandemic, and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, I get it. We're in that boat. Okay. But what are you doing today that is going to make tomorrow better? If you are stuck on the feelings you were having in 2020 or the situation or the circumstance, 2021 is going to be tough, or tomorrow is going to be tough because you're still living in those present or those past feelings. So either you need to work through them through journaling, through personal development, maybe through seeing someone, just to kind of identify those feelings and put them to rest or work on them in order to make yourself better today. Okay. Another example, your upbringing. Okay. So, my upbringing, I tell it to my kids all the time. I tell a story and I tell it to you because I really think it relates. My parents are immigrants. Okay. They came to this country with nothing. And my dad worked so hard to make something of himself. So I grew up seeing that. And my mom fully supported him. Right. So my mom, she was a homemaker. She did work, farm, and we had small businesses as well. So that's probably my entrepreneurial skills came into play. But she always supported my father. My father supported her. So whatever she needed at home to, make the home running efficient, he supported her. Whatever she needed, grocery wise, or whatever she needed time wise, or the kids wise, he supported her, and she supported him. And a lot of times is that I grew up with, my parents didn't understand, things that were going in school. They didn't understand, subjects or math or whatever. I mean, I had older siblings, but I was the youngest of 4 older siblings. There was a big age gap in our home. So a lot of the times I had to kind of figure it out, right? Like I couldn't go to my parents like, Mom, can you read this math problem and help me? She didn't understand it, right? And I can't, going into adulthood, I never, ever took that and said, well, my parents didn't help me, so I can't do this now, or I can't be a functioning adult. Like I never said that because they did what they did at that time because under the circumstances they had. And they were amazing parents, and they still are, okay? I look up to them every single day because with nothing, they created this amazing life for them and for their kids and now their grandkids. And I never, ever take that for granted. And so when I say to my kids, if you have a problem in school or you have a, schoolwork, you kind of have to figure it out. Like I'm in the state of parenting where if my kids are procrastinating with a project or a math test, I'll kind of help, but I kind of take a step back now where before I'd be like, okay, let's get this project done. I was time managing for them. But now as they're getting older, I realize, wait a minute, my parents didn't do that for me. And I feel like my time managing skills turned out okay. I went to high school. I went to university. I'm running a business. I'm learning as I go. And, they didn't help me with school. And I figured it out. So I almost feel very grateful that my parents were not micromanagers. I mean, I'm going to put it very kind. They never really asked, Michelle, do you have homework? It never was in our household. And I was the type of person that I wanted to do the homework. I wanted to, get the things on time. I wanted to get an honor roll. And my parents, didn't really help me with work. But what they did help me with is allowing me the freedom and allowing me to watch them. They did instill a very strong work ethic. I will always be grateful for that. My parents worked very, very hard, and they still do to this day. And I watched that as young as a 4, being in the house the longest. That work ethic. We had small businesses. We had a bakery. We had a card shop. And, the card shop when I was younger, and I was in and out of that, I probably was Milana's age, 2 years old, my daughter's age, but our bakery, and, I was in university, and I worked there every single day. I never asked, hey, I don't want to work there, or can I get time off? Or it was just like, I'm going to go help. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that never let your past dictate your future. My parents didn't help me in school, but I would never say I got bad marks because my parents didn't help me. And I try to tell my kids the same thing. Don't ever blame someone else for your lack of learning or your lack of attention to something, because that's on you. Taking ownership for your actions is actually a learning skill, because a lot of people, I feel, don't take ownership, okay? And I'm not generalizing, but nowadays I feel like, even with my kids and myself, is that we want to overhelp. We want to overdo things for the kids. We don't want them to go without. I mean, my parents never wanted me to go without, and they still don't. But letting your kids and yourself kind of squirm and figure things out, it is a learning ability. It's a learning thing. So you'll always get something out of it. If you kind of are like under pressure, under deadlines, you're like, I didn't do something, oh my gosh, and you're like under stress, those are the times where you have the most learning experiences, where you're like, I'm not going to do that again. Or next time when a deadline comes, I'm going to work a little bit before so I meet that deadline. Or if I did something bad, I didn't get a good mark, I'll be stewing over it thinking, okay, Michelle, you know what? You didn't pay attention to that. Next time, no, not making that mistake, okay? So not letting your circumstance or your past dictate your present or future. If you weren't good at fitness in high school, like I would get that a lot as a personal trainer, where people will come to me and say, listen, like I was never the athlete in high school, as if like they had to tell me that. It's like, be in the present. Like we're talking about right now. I don't care what I did back in high school, because yeah, I may have been into sports, but I didn't try out for a lot of sports because I thought, oh, I'm not going to make it. I had that mentality. Whereas now I go for it because I'm like, whatever, it's, for fun. Okay. And I'm trying to always tell my kids that, who cares if you're not going to make the team? Just go for it. Never know. You could be a water person or help the team, or be, the team cheerleader. Like those are things to be part of. All right. So if you weren't good athlete growing up, does not mean that you're not being good at fitness now. Like, think about that. All right. You don't need to be good in the past to be good now. You can make changes as you grow up. You evolve. All right. So giving effort every day and not letting the past dictate your present or future is a number 2 to actually being better every day. Okay. And number 3. So this is a real cool story that I'm going to share, because this happened last week, and it was a real good learning experience for my kids because they watched the whole thing. But I'm always a believer of being good for the sake of being good. Okay, so do something for others, not because you want something in return, but because it makes you feel good. So a few episodes back, probably at the end of last year, I did an episode of choose kindness, right? So ways that you could choose kindness every day and serving people. And this is actually a real big thing of how, or a real big part of how you can be 1% better every day. So last weekend, my husband and I and the kids, we were in, we went for a walk outside to, Port Local. If you're local, it's Port Lucie. We went to see the beach. It was frozen. It was beautiful. We had sunset pictures. It's getting later in the nights now. So we thought, let's take advantage of it. It's a Saturday. Like, let's get some fresh air. So, we're driving home because my youngest had to go to sleep because she doesn't take naps. And it was really crazy because my husband was going real, real slow. And he was like, just admiring the homes that we usually do. But I was like, being a mom, and I was like, she's got to go to bed at a certain time or she's never going to fall asleep. It's going to be a late night. It's Saturday. Kind of want to enjoy my Saturday. Don't want to be, just always with my toddler. But anyways, my husband's like, oh, let's just enjoy Michelle. He always reminds me to just take in the moment. Okay. So I'm really grateful for him for that because we definitely complement each other. He always just says, just relax, take in the moment. Like even when we're walking, I'll walk fast. He'll walk slower, like on purpose to like slow me down. And so for me to take in the moment. So anyways, as I'm kind of like bickering to him, like, let's get going. We turn down our street. We're so far away from our home, but we're driving. The sun is kind of setting. It's kind of getting dark. And my husband says, hey, Michelle, did you see that? I was like, see what? Like, I'm just like zoning in. Like, I'm not even looking. And he's like, someone just fell, and these are long driveways. Like, we're in country roads. Okay. And my middle son says, Mom, I saw someone fall. And I look over it. All I see is this black thing. And it looked kind of like an object or an animal. And I was like, I don't know. He goes, do you think we should turn around? I'm like, well, if it was someone for sure, let's turn around. So he turns around. We go in this driveway and like, we're in a pandemic, people. We're just coming out of lockdowns, so all of a sudden we get closer to this driveway and it's an elderly lady. She'd fallen. And so we get in there. My husband pulls in really, really quick. It was like we were like frantically getting out there. So I get up there. This lady has fallen. Her cane's beside her. She can't get up. And I come up to her. I said, hi, my name's Michelle. Because I was worried about COVID for her, I said, I'm going to put on a mask. I'm going to help you up. My husband comes. He helps her up. And, I find out a lot of things in this, 10-minute, it felt like it went by with a flash, but it was probably 10 to 20 minutes of, speaking with her. So this older lady, she lives alone. She's never been married. She has no family. She has no kids. Her family's all passed away. She's probably in her 90s. She was going to get the mail and she fell and she couldn't get up. So we were there picking her up, putting her in her home. She's all scuffed up, and in that moment, I was so grateful to my husband for all the things that I was bickering to him about going slow. Thank God he went slow because any minute later it would have been dark. I don't know if that lady, and I hate saying this and it brings it back kind of shaky, but I don't know if she would have made it because it was getting very, very dark and her drive was very long and she was wearing black and, she was very soft spoken and I don't know if you would have heard her. Okay. So I was grateful for that. I was grateful that, my kids got to see that. Okay. Because what I want to say is that we're living in a time where it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like we're losing a bit of our humanity. When I say that, what I mean is that everyone is feeling kind of timid and scared to go up to someone because of COVID. And when I came in the car, my kids said, hey, Mom, were you worried that you would get COVID? Like, this is what's going on in their head. And I said to them, no, boys, what I was concerned is that she broke a bone. And they said, oh, yeah, Mom, that's right. Hope she's okay. And they switched automatically, okay? So we, as a community, need to start thinking about being humane, okay? Humanity first. Yes, I put a mask on. I was worried about her, but, I don't go anywhere. I wasn't even thinking that far. What I was thinking was helping this lady get up and get her home. And crazy thing is, okay, so the story goes on. I get home. My husband's like, should we go there? I'm not sure. She can have a Band-Aid to wrap that up. She was cut pretty bad because I think elderly have thin skin. And I found her in the phone book. I found her in Yellow Pages because, probably the older community is still in Yellow Pages. And I called her and I said, hi, I'm Michelle. She told me her name. Before we left, my husband got her name. And I said, listen, if you need help with groceries, if you need help with anything, here's my name. Here's my number. This is where I live. I literally live on the same street as her, but other side of the highway. And I said, please don't be shy to call me. Okay. So out of this whole experience, we our family made a friend. Our family made a friend, okay? And it actually was a teachable moment for our kids that choose humanity first, choose the compassion first. And although I was shaky, I felt good that we helped this lady because I don't know the what ifs. I don't want to think about the what ifs, but they are in my head that if we went any, faster down that road that I was bickering with my husband, we wouldn't have seen her. Okay. So the moral of the story is that live in the moment and try to be as compassionate and do good for others. Because when you do good for others, you start to feel better about yourself. And I preach about that all the time. I really do. Okay. And number 4 is be open to change. Okay. I'm going to give an example. I change programming and exercise daily. Okay. So you never get the same exercise in our online programming. And sometimes I deliver programming that is new and kind of like, I'm not sure. Sometimes we get so stuck in that, I need to work out, I need this and that we lose the perception of why do we get started? Why are we exercising? Why? So I offer change frequently for us to welcome it and, learn something from it. So you might not like something. I always tell my members, when you don't like something, you still have to do it, okay? When you're not good at something, you still have to try it. It's just like we tell our kids, you don't like food? Well, keep trying it. You might like it. You're not good at the sport. Now you got to keep practicing. Why are adults any different? We're not, okay? We need to embrace change. Embrace that it might not take 1 time, 2 times, 3. It might take 20 times for you to welcome change. But change also is a habit. And it also takes practice. So in order for you to be better every day, these are 4 things that I feel will help you, okay? I'm going to go through them again. Effort. You got to give effort. You got to think, today I'm going to wake up and I want to try to do this, this, and this. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, try again tomorrow, okay? Doesn't mean you're going to get to it that day. It just means that you're providing effort and an action plan, okay? Number 2, do not let the past dictate your present and future. So you may have not been good at sports, or you may have not a good upbringing, or you didn't have, choices, in your past, but now you do, okay? You don't have to stay that person. You can change and evolve, and you can be better, okay? Number 3, give of your time willingly, meaning don't just do something because you think you're gonna get something out of it. Do something for someone because you want to and you know that it's the right thing and good thing to do. The more you do for others, trust and believe, the more grateful and purposeful your life becomes. Okay? Again, the more you do for others, the more grateful and purposeful your life becomes. And lastly is welcome change. Change will evolve you as a person, both mentally and physically and spiritually, as well as it will help you adapt to changing circumstances around you. Okay? Listen up. I hope that this helped you learn that the steps to take on to be better. It's not, major steps. It's just chipping away at that ice cube every single day. And it's always about how can you wake up today to serve yourself and to serve others, okay? So if this helped you, please share it to someone that you might think needs it, to hear it, and let me know what you thought. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.